Hi, today let's look at the third commandment, which says, "You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless, whoever takes his name in vain." So that means if I take his name in vain, I'm held guilty. There's always a punishment or consequences for being guilty of doing something that we're not supposed to do. If God tells us or warns us about something and we choose not to pay attention, then aren't his words spoken in vain, regarded by us as having little or no value? Especially when we know that everything he's ever promised us, he fulfilled time and time again. We have countless stories to that effect, not only in the Torah, even in our own lives. When a father who loves his son tells his son not to do something because he wants to protect him, then one day his son goes out and meets some of his friends. They convince him to do something that goes against what his father had warned him about. What should he do? He knows his father cares about him, but these are his friends. If he doesn't go along with them, they could make fun of him or reject him or even bully him. So he decides not to listen to his father. Now in Hebrew, listen means obey. The father's words held no weight at that moment. His father's words were spoken in vain. When the boy was caught, of course there were consequences for his actions. Did it mean his father loved him any less? Of course not. But taking his father's words in vain had the same connotation as taking his name in vain. Others might look at his father and think, what kind of a father is he? How is he raising his son? Because what he did reflects poorly on him and might even destroy his reputation as a man of honor. Our name has the same understanding as our reputation. God's reputation is at stake when we don't trust his words. That's a serious offense against the one who always keeps his word. Again, our name is our reputation. Our reputation is equal to our name. Once we lose it, it's very hard to restore. Very hard to get people to trust us again. When we who say that we believe in God speak or act in a way that takes his name in vain, it reflects very poorly upon him, and his reputation is at stake. That's a serious matter to the one who deserves all honor and glory for who he is and all that he has done for us. Our prophet Ezekiel in chapter 36 said about God, in verse 21, "I had concern for my holy name, which had been profaned." And he goes on in verse 22, "I do this for the sake of my holy name." And verse 23, "I will sanctify my holy name." It has to do with his reputation among mankind. Another way of taking God's name in vain is when we put words in his mouth, say things that he never said. Don't you hate when people put words in your mouth? When they accuse you of saying things that you never said? That's a disease in this modern era of fake news. That's why it's always important to check the facts from the source, in this case, from the Torah. I've heard so many religious people tell me, oh, God said that I can't do that, or that I should do that, or I did that because God told me, or God said I can't eat that, without ever verifying whether God actually said it. Or did they hear it from someone else, an authority? Never be afraid to question. I've often been guilty of that, and then I lose credibility. How much worse is it that when God's words lose credibility because of us? Would the Creator have taken the time to give us this third commandment if it had no value or was of little consequence? We do not give him honor or hold him in high esteem when we take his name in vain, just as we don't honor our parents when we disobey what we were told for our own good. Every day you and I are faced with having to make one decision after another. Decisions are always easier to make when we don't have to worry about the consequences. But for those of us who know that we answer to a higher power, we also know that our words and our actions affect others. That's why we need a scale by which we can measure everything we say and do, something by which we can judge what is right and what is wrong. If an architect had no standardized measure, then there's no way to know or to predict how a building will turn out. And many will come out crooked. It's the same with our lives. That's why we need a standardized measure of truth. But what is truth? That's a good question, which many have asked over the centuries. It's easy for us to say, oh, the truth is the word of God. But which word? Which God? Each of us has our own idea about who or what that is. I can only speak for myself. And after having spent almost 60 years searching, I believe that ultimate truth lies in the words handed to Moses on Mount Sinai and written in stone by the very hand of our Creator almost 4,000 years ago. He is the God who brought my people, the Israelites, out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. He wants us to know the truth so that we, his creation, can live in peace and harmony on this gift of a planet that he made for us. That's why I decided to spend so much time in examining these principles, which are the key to a good, long, and healthy life. They are called the 10 Commandments. These commandments all work together for our good and for the good of those whose lives we trust. Until next time, have a wonderful day. And if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe, forward them to your friends, and remember to support our work at Kehilat Yashuv.